He was standing so close to me again. I could feel his breath against my jaw, the heat of his whole body against mine, the air between us warm and tight, like we were holding the same inhale, and neither of us wanted to let it go first. Personal space had never meant much to him, and lately it seemed like it didn't exist at all. Not when it comes to me. His palm came up slowly, fingers brushing the side of my face. He didn't press, just let his thumb hover near the edge of my cheekbone, like he was daring me to lean in. I didn't. Instead, I turned my head, just slightly away from him. He sighed, the exhale hot and heavy against my cheeks. He was frustrated. His hand dropped as he spoke, voice low but rough at the edges. "You know what, Seth?" I didn't look at him, just stared at the row of upside-down wine glasses on the rack above the bar. "One day," he said, "I'm gonna make you beg for it." I snorted, couldn't help it. "Yeah?" I said, voice dry. "I'd love to see you try." He stepped back just far enough that I felt the absence of him like a cold draft. When he smiled, it wasn't the usual teasing smirk. It was smaller, like disappointment folded into amusement. "Don't test me," he warned lightly. "Give it your best shot," I retorted back sharply. We stared at each other for a beat too long. Then the sound of someone coughing near the service hallway reminded us the bar wasn't empty yet. He blinked first, then turned back to the counter, picked up a rag like nothing had happened. My heart that had been beating so fast finally slowed down as I watched his retreating presence for a while. That was Devin. He is a bartender here at the bar. He'd been here about a year when I started waiting tables at the lounge attached to the hotel. Everyone liked him, especially the regulars, the conference girls, the corporate types who came in for drinks and business small talk. Didn't matter who they were, they all fell for his charm. He was very charming, the type of charming that made people tip extra even when he was half listening. He was also hot, and he knew it. Not in a sleazy way, just in that relaxed, golden, you-know-you-like-looking kind of way. Always in sleeves, like he wanted you to imagine what was underneath. And every night, without fail, he flirted with me like it was a ritual. I pretended not to care, but he knew I did. And tonight had been one of those nights. "You gonna help me close?" He called after me, probably aware of the fact that I was watching him walk away. "I don't get paid for bar shifts," I said. "Never stopped you before," he retorted. I shrugged and moved behind the counter anyway. Started wiping down the other side of the bar while he cleaned out the well. His elbow brushed mine once. Then again. I didn't flinch or recoil, but I felt the heat of it. "You ever gonna stop pushing that line?" I asked. He glanced at me sideways. "You ever gonna admit you like it?" I shook my head, looking away. "You think you're irresistible?" "No." He dried his hands and leaned in, voice dropping. "I think you want someone to resist you, and now you're running out of strength seeing I'm not stopping anytime soon." I stared at him in shock. He winked at me and just continued what he was doing. "And one more thing you should know about Devin is that he is dangerous. In the sense that he was relentless and knew just the right word to say to get under my skin. Every actions of his is a giant force pounding against the walls I have built around my heart, causing cracks on them. No matter how I act like no one could touch me and walked like I didn't need anyone. Devin always saw through that. So he kept on flirting and teasing and waiting for the day I will crack and give in to him. But I won't. I wasn't planning to. There was a reason those walls were there in the first place. I wasn't going to give in just easily. He wants to make me beg for it? No, I was planning to make him work for it initially. But now I am not so sure. I've worked nights at the Redwood Lounge for about 6 months now. It's the bar tucked inside the Marlowe Hotel. Sleek, dim, expensive enough lighting, a marble-topped counter meant to make tired business travelers feel like they're doing something luxurious with their lives. I'm a waiter, which is code for I get the short end of every customer complaint, spend half my shift navigating drunk flirting, and spend the other half ignoring the looks Devin sends me from behind the bar. The first time I met Devin was on my first shift when I just started working here. I'd been thrown into the weeds. Wedding party in one room, corporate spillover in the lounge. Devin had watched me nearly drown trying to cover 3 tables on my own. I was sweating through my shirt, spinning in circles, trying not to scream. He slid 2 drinks down the bar toward me with a flick of his wrist and said, "You always this bad at pretending you've got it under control?" I didn't have time to come up with a comeback. I just took the drinks and downed it while shooting him a glare. But later, he handed me a bottle of water and said, "You did good, for a newbie." I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The way he had looked at me then, like he was already filing me under unfinished business, said everything. Most nights he'd shoot me a wink across the bar or slide a drink into my hand with a little grin like, "Here, you need this more than they do." He was always easy with his charm, but not careless. He noticed things. Like when I was falling behind on a rush, or when I got stiff around the finance bros who liked to joke about tips like they were doing us a favor. The first time I saw him put someone in their place, it was 2 weeks into my job. Some guy at table 12, drunk, wearing a Bluetooth headset like he was waiting for a stock call, grabbed my arm a little too hard while trying to get my attention. Devin appeared next to me so fast it felt rehearsed. "Hey," he'd said, smooth but firm. "He's not on the menu." The guy blinked, stunned. Devin smiled wider, no teeth. "You want another drink? You can wait until he's ready." And just like that, the hand dropped. Afterward, I didn't say thank you. Devin didn't ask for it. We just went back to work like nothing had happened. There's a rhythm to this job that takes a while to learn. I'd found my rhythm. 6 months in, and I knew how to ride the flow. How to move through tables like water, take orders without needing to write them down, flash just enough of a smile to get a decent tip without inviting anything I didn't want. I knew who ordered doubles without asking. I knew who liked to talk and who only wanted silence and a strong pour. I knew the regulars, Don from 5:30 with his gin and silence, Nina, who always came in on Thursdays after teaching night classes, who tipped well and never asked for anything. And I knew who flirted with me. Most of them didn't matter. A few tried too hard. Some got handsy. Others just stared a second too long after asking for their bill. It used to bother me more. Now, I let it roll off me. Smirk, deflect, move on. But with Devin, I couldn't roll anything off. Not the way he looked at me. Not the way he touched my wrist when he handed me drinks. Not the heat that pooled under my skin every time he leaned in to say something that didn't need to be said. And he knew. So he kept flirting like it was instinct. I pushed back like it was survival. Every shift we worked together was some variation of that dance. But it never went further than that. He kept giving me those long looks without restraint, and he wasn't being subtle at all. Or him standing close to me till our shoulders brush in the alley behind the bar where we took our breaks. Or him asking for my help to wipe the countertops so we can close and go home together. He was intentional in the minute he pulls me into his orbit that I slowly find myself gravitating towards it. And we banter almost every time whistling. The kind of banter that made everyone else assume we were already hooking up. We weren't, not because I didn't want to, but because I was trying hard not to. He made it too easy. And I didn't trust easy. Never had. When I was 20, someone I fell really hard for told me I was easy to want but hard to keep. I carried that like a bruise for years. Maybe still did. It made me second-guess kindness, made me flinch when people tried to get close. It wasn't just about being afraid of getting hurt. It was worse. I was afraid of being wanted for the wrong reasons, of being someone's game or distraction or experiment. So I learned to keep things on my terms, keep people at arm's length, especially when they are flirting shamelessly with me like Devin, because sooner or later they will lose interest or disappear. But Devin never disappeared. If anything, he was consistent in his approach. And now I wasn't so sure if I wanted him to lose interest, because what he said tonight felt like a dare. One day, I'm going to make you beg for it. I didn't know what it was, but I wanted to find out. Hey Daydreamers, thanks for tuning in. If you are liking this story so far, tell us where you are listening from in the comments section and hit the subscribe and notification buttons so you don't miss any story uploads. Let's continue. We were slammed that night. Some kind of midweek retreat had taken over the hotel. A tech company out of Denver or Austin or some other city full of rooftop bars and people who used disruptive like a compliment. The bar was buzzing with them. Tall guys in quarter zips and allbirds, half of them pretending they didn't want to hook up with each other by over-laughing at everything. Devin was in his element. Pouring, smiling, charming the table of 3 women near the corner like he was born to do it. His sleeves were pushed to his elbows again, showing just enough forearm to get noticed. His voice kept that low, easy tilt that made people lean in. I hated watching him work. Not because he was good at it, but because I couldn't tell which parts were for me. "Your boyfriend's putting on a show tonight," Marcy muttered as we passed each other at the service station. I shot her a look. She grinned. Marcy had been here 2 years. Sharp-tongued, faster than anyone else on the floor, and always 3 steps ahead of the kitchen. She liked to tease. And she picked up on Devin and me pretty quick. "He's not my boyfriend," I said. "Right," she said, drawing the word out like a yawn. I didn't answer, just snatched the ticket from the printer and moved back toward my tables. At table 9, someone tried to touch my hand while asking about the wine list. I stepped back before they could. Smiled like it didn't bother me. It always did. I love my jobs, I really do, but why can't these creeps just keep their hands to themselves? Halfway through the night, I passed behind Devin on the way to the kitchen. He turned slightly, just enough to speak without looking at me. "You okay?" he asked. "Fine." He reached for a bottle. "You're quiet." "I'm working." "I know." I paused, just for a second. He glanced back over his shoulder, and I knew he saw it, the flicker, the way my jaw tightened. He didn't push, just nodded. "Let me know if you need backup." An hour later, I did need backup. Some guy at table 6, older, expensive watch, way too confident, kept making comments every time I passed. Started with my hair, then my shirt, then my attitude. I ignored it. 3 times. 4th time, Devin was there. He didn't raise his voice, didn't start anything, just stepped between us while pretending to pick up empty glasses and said, "You're done." The guy blinked. "Excuse me?" "You heard me," Devin said, all warmth gone. "Tabs paid, time to go." I didn't say anything. Couldn't. The guy got up eventually, muttering something under his breath. Devin didn't move until he was out of the building. When it was over, he turned to me and said, "You don't owe people politeness when they're trying to make you smaller." I nodded once. Didn't trust my voice. He didn't press, just tapped my shoulder once, gently, and went back to the bar. See, when he does things like this, it makes me think that he is really genuine in his flirting and when he said he liked him. But then I saw him laugh. Devin was back at the corner of the bar talking to one of the new guests, a woman with perfect lipstick and a laugh that carried across the room. Devin leaned in slightly, smiling, eyes half-lidded like they always were when he was listening. And then she was touching his arm. I sighed before looking away. When we were done with our shift for the night, I stayed back, even though I wasn't on close that night. Said I needed to finish inventory sheets, but really I just couldn't stand the idea of walking past the bar while he was still there laughing with someone else. When the place finally cleared out and the lights dimmed, I slipped into the staff hallway to clock out. Devin was already there, leaning against the wall, sipping from his water bottle like he hadn't been the center of attention all night. "You didn't have to stay," he said. I shrugged. "Didn't feel like walking out with the rest of them." "Didn't feel like walking out past me, you mean?" I stared at him. His smile didn't hold teeth this time. "You think I don't notice?" "Notice what?" "That you only look at me when you think I'm not looking back." I didn't respond. My hand curled around my phone tighter than necessary. He stepped a little closer to me but still maintained his distance. "I'm not flirting with them," he said. "You don't have to defend it." "I'm not." He paused. "I just wanted you to know." I wanted to say something cutting. Wanted to say I don't care. But all I could think about was how much I cared and how much it bothered me seeing him flirting with others. I left without saying goodnight, knowing full well that he was still standing there long after I'd gone. As if to make up for that day and show his sincerity, Devin changed. Whatever patience he'd been holding onto for months finally snapped, quietly but decisively. And when it did, he came at me with the full force of it. Every night before our shift, the waitstaff usually gathered in the break room upstairs. Marcy would snag the best table by the vending machines, Jordan would sprawl like he owned the place, and someone would always be half asleep with earbuds in. We weren't a family, but we found a weird rhythm, like people forced to live together on a ship that never docked. I used to sit alone, not by choice exactly, it just happened that way. I was always the last to grab food, always the one who ate fast and quiet, head down, earbuds in. It kept things simple, no small talk, no unnecessary glances. But now Devin had started sitting with me. The first time, I thought it was a joke, a fluke. He grabbed his plate and sat directly across from me like it was the most natural thing in the world, pulling the chair closer with the toe of his boot. "Morning," he said, even though it was 5 p.m. I raised an eyebrow. "You lost?" "Nope." He unwrapped his sandwich. Found exactly what I wanted. I didn't know what to do with that, so I didn't say anything. Just focused on my food and tried not to watch the way he ate like he was born to do it on camera. And he kept showing up. Some nights he brought extra snacks and slid them across the table without a word. Once he handed me a drink from the vending machine I didn't even realize I wanted until it was in my hand. "They were out of your usual," shrugging. "This one's close." It was exactly right. Every time someone teased us, he didn't hide anything. "You two married yet?" Marcy had said one night, rolling her eyes as she passed. "Not yet," Devin said without missing a beat, "but we're in talks." That made me choke on my noodles. He reached over and thumped my back once, grinning like it was the best joke he'd told all week. He didn't stop there. Another night after close, we stayed late cleaning, just the two of us. The bar was dark except for the blue light spilling in from the exit signs and the faint hum of the fridge compressor kicking on and off. We didn't talk, just moved around each other like orbiting moons, brushing past, catching glances, saying nothing. When we finally sat down to eat, it was in the side booth near the window. My feet ached, my shirt stuck to my back. I felt like I'd been scraped raw by the shift, but somehow it didn't matter. Devin slid into the seat beside me, not across but beside, and unwrapped a sandwich he brought for me without asking. "You didn't eat earlier," he said. "I noticed." I blinked. "You brought that for me?" He shrugged. "You get quiet when you're hungry." I took the sandwich. He leaned back, shoulder to shoulder, as if we'd always sat this close. "Why are you doing this?" I asked eventually. He didn't pretend not to know what I meant. "Because I like you," he said. Simple, undiluted, and I'm done pretending it's just flirting. I didn't answer. I didn't know how. Even when we were surrounded by people, he made it feel like it was just us. One of the nights where the team gathered around a corner table upstairs, shoveling down leftovers before the first wave of guests came. Marcy cracked a joke about me and Devin always being joined at the hip, and Devin didn't even pretend to be embarrassed. He just shrugged and bumped his shoulder against mine. "What can I say?" he said. "He's warm and moody, like a cat I want to keep." My ears burned. I muttered something under my breath. Devin just looked smug. I caught sight of him later that shift, laughing with a customer at the bar. A man, tall and charming, leaning in a little too close. My stomach twisted. It was stupid. Devin flirted with everyone. It didn't mean anything. But the way he looked at me wasn't how he looked at them. At least, I hoped it wasn't. The night ended with us side by side at the sink, rinsing glasses in companionable silence. He bumped me again. Didn't say anything. Just smiled like he knew something I didn't. When we are done, I don't know what made me relax. Maybe it was the exhaustion, maybe the food, maybe my walls are finally cracking. But I let him sit so close, almost leaning into him. Our knees brushed more than once. He laughed at something dumb I said, and for the first time in weeks, I let myself laugh with him. After we finished eating, he reached up suddenly and touched my mouth. I froze. "There," he said, "you had something." He wiped the corner of my lip with the pad of his thumb. Then, God help me, he brought his thumb to his mouth and licked it. My stomach dropped straight through the floor. He didn't smirk, didn't make it a joke, just looked at me like he was waiting to see if I'd run again. I didn't. I couldn't. "Devin," I said, and it came out too soft. He leaned in just enough. "Yeah?" My mouth opened, then closed. He waited, but I didn't say it. I couldn't yet, so he smiled, slow and understanding. He didn't push, just let his knee press into mine beneath the table and stay close. And in that quiet, somewhere between his breath and mine, I stopped wanting to run. After that night in the booth, things didn't cool off. If anything, Devin doubled down. He was coming for me, directly, deliberately, and it was like standing in front of a slow, beautiful storm and pretending you wouldn't get soaked. He started bringing me things. Mints, energy bars, sometimes just a slice of pizza sealed in a plastic wrap with my name scrawled across the top in Sharpie. Always with some excuse. You skipped dinner, or you looked tired yesterday. One night before shift, we were standing by the bar while the rest of the staff filtered in for pre-service dinner. Devin had that look again, mischief and heat wrapped in a grin, and before I could say anything, he said, "Open your mouth." I blinked. "What? Come on." He stepped closer. "Trust me. I don't know what you, Seth," his voice dropped soft but firm. "Open your mouth." I squinted at him. He was holding something between his fingers, a little wrapped square of something. He looked stupidly sincere, eyes warm. That little frown he made when I didn't instantly obey, like it genuinely disappointed him. I sighed. Fine. He slipped it between my lips, something sweet, citrusy. It dissolved sharp on my tongue. "What is that?" I asked around it. "A vitamin." He grinned. "So you don't burn out before 10. I tried to roll my eyes, but the warmth in my chest betrayed me. I couldn't ignore the way he was with me. At dinner, he sat beside me, so close our thighs touched. He kept turning toward me when he laughed, like I was the only person worth reacting to. He made jokes that were too soft to be for anyone else. He saved me the last bite of whatever snack he brought, handing it over like an offering. He flirted like it was breathing, and unlike before, I was drowning in it. One night, we were out by the loading dock. Shift had ended. Everyone else had gone. The sky above us was dark and cracked with stars. He leaned against the wall, chewing on a toothpick, watching me like he didn't want the night to end. "You want to grab dinner sometime?" he asked, casual, like it was nothing. I froze. "Dinner? Yeah. Me. A place where we're not wearing name tags." I stared at him. "Like a date?" He nodded. "Like a date." I didn't say anything for a second too long. Then, "I can't." His face didn't fall. Not exactly. But the light in his eyes dimmed a little. "Can't or won't." I looked away. "I don't think it's a good idea." "Why?" "I don't want to ruin this. Work. Whatever this is." He pushed off the wall, came a little closer. "That's not the real reason." I sighed, fingers curling into my sleeves. "I don't do well with this kind of thing, okay?" He didn't interrupt, but I felt like I needed to give him my reason if I am to let him down gently. I've been used before, led on, made to feel like I was something until I wasn't. His jaw tightened, but he didn't speak. I don't know how to trust someone who's that good at getting what he wants, especially when what he wants is me. Devin exhaled slowly. "Seth," I looked up. "I'm not them," he said. "I know. But you don't believe it." Silence stretched between us. Then he stepped closer, slow enough that I could stop him if I wanted. I didn't. His hand came up, resting lightly on my arm. "I like you," he said. "Not because it's convenient or fun, because it's you." I swallowed hard. "I don't know how to do this," I said, voice rough. He smiled, small, neither do I, but I want to try. I looked at him for a long time. He had really put in lots of efforts to driving his point and making me know he liked me. The least I could do is try. And he was right, he wasn't them. He could be better or worse, but there is no way I will know if I didn't try. So I nodded. "Okay." He pulled me into a hug, arms strong, steady, his breath warm at the curve of my neck. "You don't have to be perfect," he said. "Just don't run again." The date we had wasn't a fancy one, and honestly, I could care less. Devin took me to a little late-night cafe that made incredible noodles and let you bring your own wine. We sat in the back booth, laughing, telling stories, letting the nerves burn off. Devin didn't push, didn't lean too close. Just let me have space and met me there when I close it. It was actually a great night. The moment I let my guard down, I started to enjoy his attention way more than I wanted. When he dropped me off at my place, we stood at my door. I didn't want to say goodnight. I kept glancing at his mouth, wondering if he'd kiss me, wondering if I wanted him to. He was watching me, eyes dark, knowing, like he saw every twitch in my fingers, every silent prayer I didn't know how to say. Then he laughed, quiet and low. "My God," he said, stepping forward, "you are so stubborn." He kissed me. Not soft, not hesitant. He kissed me like he'd been holding his breath for weeks, like he meant to claim something, like he knew I was already halfway his. His mouth moved against mine with purpose. Hot, confident, dangerous. I let him in. I let it all in. When I reached for him, ready to pull him closer, he pulled back. He smiled, eyes bright, breathing a little faster. "Good night, Seth." And then he left me there, flushed, buzzing, and already aching for more. That kiss wrecked me way more than I wanted to admit. The way he pulled back, smiling like he had all the time in the world, left me restless for nights after. Every touch, every look, every stupid joke laced with heat. They didn't just flirt anymore. They lingered. And somehow, I wasn't scared anymore. I liked him. That much was obvious now. I wanted him. And not just the easy stuff, not just the way he made me laugh, or the way his hand always found mine when we walked out after shifts. I wanted him. Every part. So I gave it a shot. I agreed to a second date. Our second date was at a small gallery opening Devin heard about through a bartender friend. I half expected him to cancel. He didn't. He showed up in a fitted navy shirt that made him look unfairly good, hair still slightly damp like he'd just gotten out of the shower. He didn't say anything about the way I kept staring. Instead, he handed me a coffee and said, "This is the third time I've seen you wear that hoodie, so I figured you needed caffeine more than a compliment." I rolled my eyes, but I drank it. We spent the night moving through rooms of strange art, whispering commentary in each other's ears, our shoulders brushing. He kept glancing over like he was watching me instead of the walls. I pretended not to notice. He didn't let me pretend for long. And when the date is over, he walked me and proceeded to kiss me again, just when I thought we were going to take it further. He pulled back and whispered, "See you at work tomorrow," leaving me hot and bothered again. Our third date was even worse. We went for late-night pizza and a walk along the bridge. He didn't try to kiss me again. Just held my hand the entire way, swung it between us like we were already something. He was consistent, and it was driving me insane. Because every time he got close, every time I thought, this is it, he backed off. No pressure, no push, just a soft smile, a wink, a goddamn smirk that made my stomach knot. I hadn't gotten laid in over 2 years. Not for lack of opportunity. It's just cause don't do one-night stands, and I don't do people who make me feel like I'm disposable. For the longest time, no one met the criteria. Until Devin. So yeah, I was really desperate. By the time our fourth date rolled around, I'd stopped pretending. I liked him. I liked the way he noticed things, especially when it comes to me. The way he never pushed, never rushed, just waited patiently for me to stop bracing for the impact that never came. And I was ready. So I invited him over to my place. Netflix, takeout, a bottle of red I know neither of us would finish. He showed up in sweats and a gray t-shirt, carrying wine and a tub of cookies from that fancy bakery on 6th. He had a crooked smile on his face and a kiss already pressed to his fingertips, like he meant to stamp it on me the second I opened the door. I let him in. I let him touch me. We curled up on my couch, tangled in blankets, movie flickering in the background. He brought his leg up beside mine, knee pressed against my thigh like an anchor. Every few minutes, his hand would brush mine in the popcorn bowl. He didn't pull away fast enough. Once, he fed me a cookie, broke it in half, held it up. "Try it," he said. "I'm not letting you feed me like a pet. Just try it." I sighed and opened my mouth. He popped the piece in, let his fingers drag slow against my lips as he pulled back. "That's not how people feed each other," I muttered. "Sure it is," he said. "Just maybe not in public." I choked. He laughed, but the look in his eyes was different, darker, knowing. You would think that look meant I am finally getting laid, but no, when the credits rolled out. He stood, kissed my forehead goodnight, and left. At this stage, I have had enough. Which was why, on the night of our 5th date, I insisted he come over again. We are going to Netflix and chill for real this time. He showed up at 7, casual in sweats and a soft gray t-shirt that clung to his chest like sin. His curls were a little messy, like he'd showered but hadn't bothered to do anything beyond towel dry. There was a box of cookies under one arm and a bottle of wine in the other. "I come bearing bribes," he said as I opened the door. "You're late." He leaned in, kissed my cheek without asking. "I'm worth the wait." He made himself at home the way only Devin could. Kicked off his shoes, claimed the corner of the couch with the best view of the TV, and set the wine and cookies on my coffee table like it was our 3rd anniversary. The man didn't hesitate. He moved through my apartment like he belonged there. I brought over the popcorn while the streaming menu looped. He scrolled through options, lazily judging my recommendations. "You've never seen Eternal Sunshine?" he gasped. I was busy having a personality. He threw a piece of popcorn at me. I caught it in my mouth. He looked impressed. "Damn, marry me." By the time we settled on a movie, the popcorn bowl sat in his lap, dangerously close to territory I was trying not to think about. Devin didn't make it easy. Every time he leaned down to grab a handful, his arm brushed mine. His thigh pressed against mine. His fingers lingered longer than they needed to when he passed me sacks. Once, he dipped a piece into his mouth and offered the other half to me like it was nothing. "Come on," he said, lips quirking. "Live a little." I bit it. He sucked in a breath and turned back to the movie, but I caught the flush at the edge of his jaw. I was losing it. 2 years of fending off hookups and shallow flings because I didn't trust easily and didn't give myself away for free. And now here was Devin, touching, teasing, torturing, and still not making a move. He'd had every opportunity, 4 dates, dozens of moments. I was convinced we'd be halfway to stripping the couch cushions by now. Instead, he was watching the movie like I wasn't 5 seconds from straddling him. Then he leaned over to grab his drink. And instead of reaching forward, he stretched sideways, right across my lap. His chest brushed mine. His weight pressed into my thighs. And then he just lingered. I have had enough. I grabbed the front of his shirt and pulled. Our mouths met, knocking the air out of me. He froze for a heartbeat, then moved with me, pressing closer. His hands tangled in my hair along my back, pulling me in. Every kiss was urgent, intense, leaving me dizzy and unsteady. I pressed against him, caught in the heat of the moment, our movements slow, deliberate, full of tension. His breath hitched against my neck. I ran my fingers over the edge of his shirt, tracing the lines of his body, feeling the warmth of him. He groaned softly when I pressed closer, and I could feel every reaction echo through me. My head spun, my heart hammered, and then, just as suddenly, he stopped. I blinked. He was reclined now, arms folded behind his head like he hadn't just turned me inside out. "Devin," I said, breathless. "Nothing. You don't want to?" His smile curled slowly. "Oh, I want to." He adjusted under me. I felt it, every inch of him. "Then why are you?" "If you want it," he said, voice velvet-wrapped steel, "come get it." I leaned down. He turned his head. I groaned, half in frustration, half in disbelief. "You've got to be kidding me." He licked his lips. "You know the words." "What words?" His eyes dragged over me, slow and ravenous. "Beg." I tilted my head a little but was confused, but then it hit me like a lightning strike. That night, the bar. That moment, the dare. "One day, I'll make you beg for it." I stared at him incredulously. "You can't be serious." He shifted closer, and I caught my breath. "Oh, I'm very serious," he murmured, his voice low and steady. I leaned into him, trying to close the space, and he made a quiet, breathy sound, but didn't move, just held me there. The tension was unbearable. I was aching, flushed, trembling. Every cell in my body screamed for him. "Please," I whispered. He cupped my jaw, thumb dragging across my bottom lip. "Didn't catch that." "Please, Devin." My voice cracked. "I need you." His eyes lit up like he'd just won. "Good boy." Then he pulled me in and kissed me like I finally passed some unspoken test. I didn't think I could want someone this much without combusting. But there I was, pressed against Devin, breathless, heart hammering. My lips tingled from our long kiss, and every nerve in me felt electric. And all it took was one word. "Please." The second I said it, meant it, he changed. His hands moved from casual to commanding, one sliding up my back to hold me in place, the other tugging me down so his mouth could find mine again. But this kiss wasn't teasing. It was deep, possessive, like he was making a point. And the point was, I had given in. I wasn't proud, actually. I was shameless. Entirely, gloriously, hopelessly shameless. Because God, he felt good. His hands moved over me with a familiarity that made my chest pound. The world narrowed down to the warmth of him pressing close, the sharp intake of breath between us, the way every touch sent sparks racing under my skin. He traced along my jaw, a feather-light brush that made my knees weaken, then let his lips linger at the curve of my neck. I shivered, caught somewhere between wanting more and being completely undone. "Devin," I whispered, breathless, my fingers gripping his shoulders. He only smiled, eyes dark with something I couldn't name, and held me closer. Every second stretched, electric and slow, every brush of his hand and press of his body making it impossible to think straight. When his lips drifted near my ear, warm and teasing, my heart slammed so hard I was sure he could feel it, and in that tiny, suspended moment, the world outside vanished. "You think this is good?" he murmured. "You should see what I do when you really beg." I moaned, loud, uncontrolled, didn't even try to stop it. His hand clamped over my mouth. "Shh," he breathed, grinning. "Neighbors." I nodded against his palm, eyes wide. He was relentless, precise, focused on every place I needed him the most. I felt unraveled, taken apart and stitched back together with nothing but heat and tension and the weight of his body. And just when the world exploded and I broke apart in his arms, I swore I heard him laugh. Not cruel, not mocking, pleased. Like I'd done exactly what he hoped I would. I lay there after, chest still rising and falling like I'd run 10 miles. My legs wouldn't stop shaking, my arms felt boneless. He was watching me, lying beside me now, elbow propped up, chin resting on his hand. That look in his eyes, smug, satisfied, dangerous. I tried to speak but failed. He leaned in and kissed my cheek, then my shoulder, then the hollow of my throat. "Devin," I managed. He raised an eyebrow. "Yeah?" I turned to face him, barely able to glare. "You're gonna make me beg again, aren't you?" He grinned. "Oh, definitely." I groaned and covered my face with both hands. He chuckled, tugged my hands away and kissed me again. Slow this time. Gentle. "Was it worth it?" he asked. I didn't answer. He kissed me again, deeper now. I collapsed against him like I just run a marathon uphill. My lungs couldn't catch up, my legs were trembling, and my skin felt like it was on fire from every brush of his hands, every press of his body against mine. He hadn't just kissed me, he had consumed the space around me, every movement, every second, leaving me dizzy and unsteady. I was completely undone, and he was still watching me like he wasn't finished. "Say it again," he whispered, mouth brushing my ear. I turned to him. "Say what?" He smiled. "Say please." "Devin." He shifted against me, hips pressing just enough to make me groan. "You're evil, and you're mine." I should have hated the way he said it, like a fact, like a claim. But I didn't. I wanted to be his. Wanted it so badly it terrified me. He kissed me again, slower this time. Less fire, more gravity. Like we already burned through the worst of it and were just falling now, pulled into each other by something that didn't need words. We lay like that for a while, tangled and silent, until the shaking in my limbs finally eased. His hand was on my chest, thumb brushing small, lazy circles over my heartbeat. "Hey," he murmured. "Still with me?" "Barely." He laughed quietly. "You're cute when you're destroyed." I groaned into his neck. "Don't say things like that." "Why not?" "Because you'll make me want to do this again." He shifted closer. "That's the idea." I blinked up at him. His curls were a mess, his eyes soft, and then softly teasing. "So now, boyfriend?" I searched his face for a joke, but he looked honest. Every defense I built had crumbled hours ago. "Yeah," I whispered. "Boyfriend." His smile nearly undid me. And when he pulled me in again, mouth warm and familiar, hands sliding across my back, I let it happen. I let the pleasure take over, and for once, I didn't think about what came after. I just let myself be his. Thanks for listening to the story. If you enjoy this story, share your enthusiasm in the comment section, and don't forget to hit the subscribe and notification buttons so you don't miss any story uploads. See you in the next one.